Welcome back to Out of the Palette TV. So this week we're going to look at what is new coming up on Netflix this September. Although September seems a little light, there is a lot of content on Netflix that isn't brand new, but at least new to Netflix, like Green Lantern, which really is not as bad as people bag on it or make it seem like it, or even like the sci-fi thriller Level 16. So if you need help finding more, check out my other videos on hidden gems, and I have one on sci-fi movies that you can also watch right now on Netflix. Okay, let's get going with September's new stuff. Starting off is Afterlife of the Party that premieres on September 2nd. A social butterfly, Casey, experiences the biggest party foul of all, dying during her birthday week in a freak accident. To her surprise, she's gifted a second chance to right her wrongs on Earth by reconnecting with loved ones, and most importantly, prove that she's worthy enough to get into the big VIP room in the sky, so to speak, and probably hope not to go to the other much warmer place. So that's Afterlife of the Party on September 2nd. On the 3rd, we get Worth, which is a 9/11 biopic based on the true story behind a lawyer who is seeking justice for the victims of the September 11th attacks. During this process, this attorney learns a lesson in empathy when he is faced with the near impossible task of determining who to compensate or how to compensate families who suffered incalculable losses as a result of the horrible terrorist attacks. It stars Michael Keaton, Stanley Tucci, who is kind of that guy you recognize him when you see him kind of guy, and also Amy Ryan. Also on the 3rd, we have Money Heist Season 5 Part 1 premiere. This Spanish cult hit returns for the first half of a 2-part final season. The gang has been in the Bank of Spain for over 100 hours, and the professor is at risk. To make matters worse, a new adversary is coming, the Army. If you haven't seen this series, do yourself a favor and give this well-made and produced series a chance with now over 4 seasons of good content. And that's Money Heist. On September 6th, Netflix is doing something a little bit new with episode 1 of Countdown, Inspiration4 Mission to Space. The latter following episodes will premiere throughout the month. Countdown Inspiration4 Mission to Space is a documentary series that will cover the events in near real time. This is the new part, airing in 5 parts leading up to and after the mission. So what we'll see is 4 civilians who will launch into space for a multi-day trip orbiting Earth. The SpaceX Dragon mission, named Inspiration4, will make history as the world's first all-civilian mission into orbit. Again, this is the first Netflix documentary series to cover an event in near real time. So with this exclusive access to this mission, again, the series will premiere in 5 parts, taking viewers behind the scenes with the 4 crew members who are raising funds for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. The series covers and goes from their unconventional selection and intensive months-long commercial astronaut training to the intimate moments leading up to liftoff, showing all the mental, physical, and emotional challenges that can happen. The final episode, which premieres just days after the mission is completed, will capture the history launch and the crew's journey into space, culminating in a triumphant splashdown and return to Earth. So again, that's on September 6th, Countdown, Inspiration4 Mission to Space. Coming on the 8th is the Season 2 premiere of Into the Night. The premise of this series is that the sun all of a sudden starts killing everything and everyone in its path, and a few lucky passengers and crew of an overnight flight out of Brussels try to survive as they fly west. Kind of like racing from the sun. The new season of this thriller, produced in Belgium, will continue the fight for the survival for this plane full of passengers needing to keep out of the sun. Now this next one coming out on the 9th, I wasn't able to find a decent video trailer for. It's called The Woman and the Murderer. Premieres, again, like I said, on September 9th, and it's a French true crime drama documentary that follows a police chief and a murder victim's mother desperately searching for the infamous 1990s serial killer in Paris. So keep an eye out for that one on the 9th. It's called The Women and the Murderer. Next we get on the 10th is Kate, which is an action thriller headlined by Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Woody Harrelson. Not that Woody. Yes, that one. So with ultimate skills, Kate is the perfect specimen of a finely tuned assassin at the height of her game. But when she's uncharacteristically blows an assignment targeting a member of the Yakuza in Tokyo, she quickly discovers she's been poisoned. A brutally slow execution that gives her less than 24 hours to exact revenge on her killers. So as her body starts deteriorating, she forms an unlikely bond with the teenage daughter of one of her past victims. So that's Kate on the 10th. So if there's any racing fans out there who recently saw Ford versus Ferrari or Rush, there's a documentary out called Schumacher on the 15th. This is supposed to be the ultimate documentary of Formula One icon Michael Schumacher. It features rare interviews and previously unreleased archive footage and traces a very sensitive and critical portrait of the 7-time world champion. And this is the only one that's supported by his family. So that's Schumacher on the 15th. Also premiering on the 15th is Night Books. It's about a boy named Alex who is obsessed with scary stories. He becomes trapped by an evil witch in her magical apartment and must tell a scary story each night just to stay alive. So he eventually teams up with another prisoner, Yasmin, to find a way to escape. This looks like a fun, if not slightly scary kids movie, and then definitely would check that one out on the 15th. Next on the 17th is the new season 3 of Sex Education. Now, I've just recently got on board with this English comedy series, and I've really enjoyed it so far. Now, there are many side characters in the show, but it boils down to the main character of a teenage boy with a sex therapist mom who teams up with a high school classmate. Well, he teams up with a high school classmate that he has a crush on to set up an underground sex therapy clinic at school. Now, this kid actually has both parents as therapists, so all that information he has kind of overheard and been a part of while growing up is rubbed off on him over the years. By the way, that kid, many years before, is the same actor from Ender's Game, Asa Butterfield. And his mom is played by the all-time favorite Gillian Anderson of X-Files fames and many others. On the 24th is a new show premiering called Midnight Mass. This 7-episode limited series comes from the Haunted of Hill House creator Mike Flanagan. It tells the story of a small isolated island community whose existing divisions are amplified by the return of a disgraced young man and the arrival of a charismatic priest. So when the priest's appearance on Crockett Island coincides with unexplained and seemingly miraculous events, a renewed religious fervor takes hold of the community. But, of course, there's mystery, and do these miracles come at a price? So catch that season 1 premiere on the 24th of Midnight Mass. And finally, on September 29th is a new movie called Sounds Like Love. This is a slightly different and a bit quirky Spanish rom-com about a 30-year-old woman who is currently stuck as an assistant but vows to move forward with her life. The story revolves around Maca, a fashion assistant who just about got her life together after a devastating breakup, when Leo, the man who broke up with her, returns. Seeking support from her best friends, all of them will learn love can be very complicated. I do like how they break down the fourth wall, kind of like Deadpool is a great example of this, which gives what could be a very formulaic rom-com with nice twists and something more refreshing and new. So that Sounds Like Love. It's Spanish subtitled, but definitely worth checking out, I think. It looks pretty good and interesting on the 29th. Alright, that's it for Netflix in September and all I have this week. Thanks for watching Out of the Pal TV. Feel free to ask questions and don't forget to subscribe.